Welcome to Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights, a podcast by coaches for coaches. Our guests share their hard-won wisdom to help you grow your coaching business and create a life of success. So get ready to unlock the blueprints to your success. Welcome, everyone, to our podcast episode. I am thrilled to have my special co-host, Francois Lupien from How to Become More. And our special guest today is Risa August, and she is a Gestalt Coach. So I'm excited to meet her and talk to her and find out exactly what that is. So welcome, Risa. We're thrilled to have you here today.
I am so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us what a Gestalt Coach is, please.
Okay, Gestalt is a German word that loosely means whole. And the Gestalt originated from Fritz Perls, who created this modality, and he offered a more experiential approach to therapy and coaching. So it's very non-traditional. He veered away from like Sigmund Freud's style of therapy and moved in a different direction. And as I said, it's very experiential. When people ask me, what is this? I can't really say because there's no cut and dry. It's this for every client. It's actually very different for each client. And we tap into all kinds of things, not just what the client's saying, but what they're embodying, their somatics, all of it. It's that loose term of wholeness.
When you talk about wholeness, experiential approach, can you give us an example of an ideal client that came with you with a case study without saying any names so we can grasp the concept of what you do and people can raise it, oh, that's me. I can identify with that. So as I said, being anonymous with the experience, but nevertheless explain so we can understand it better. Does that make sense, Risa?
Yes, absolutely. And basically it's taking all the parts of ourselves and bringing them back together. And it's not viewing anyone as being broken, so to speak. And so I had this one client who she couldn't understand why she kept ending up in relationships and she would latch on to the other person in the relationship very quickly. She was all in right away. And it wasn't always the healthiest way. And we started doing a little digging and exploring into her past. And because this is a coactive approach, I'm not there to provide answers for my clients, but I guide them to find the answers within themselves. And she came up with this connection from when she was a child. She was given up for a week of her life after she was born. Her mom essentially gave her away for a week. And she missed out on this bonding experience, this connection with her mom. And so she made that connection herself. She just has this feeling of need to be wanted and not rejected. Rejection came up a lot for her. And so we actually went back to visited that moment in her life and talked to that little baby that she was way back then when her mom gave her up.
Wow. You left us both speechless.
Yes, that's amazing. You described it beautifully. So therefore, what you find out is through a questioning and respecting the individual, finding out what might have triggered that experience, then going back to that and then, I don't know, talking it over, finding out and then enabling them to release or letting go. And then by doing that, everything else sorts of falls into place. That's amazing.
Yes, thank you. And we actually went on to, because it's so non-traditional, we actually first had and I'm sure many of you coaches have heard of this, we did an empty chair piece where she spoke to her mom. She spoke to her mom and her mom's higher self in that chair. Now, her mom wasn't actually in the chair, and we had her speak with her mom. The interesting piece of this puzzle is she's actually about to be a mom herself. So she spoke to her mom as a soon-to-be mother, but she also spoke to her mom as that little baby back when that happened. And so she released a lot of grief that way as well. There's a lot of emotions. Like you said, it was a big release for her, for sure. And so then I had her follow up with finding like a stuffed animal or something that she really connects with. And to treat that like that little child that she was, and give her all the love and attention that she didn't receive during that time she was given up. And so I had her take that animal or that stuffed animal with her everywhere she went and just showed her the attention she deserved when she was a baby.
Wow.
Excellent. That's awesome.
I hope it was a small stuffed animal.
That's a great experience. Do you have this is the Gestalt coaching related to trauma or can it do for example, I don't know, let's say many coaches have a hard time asking for money because they say, oh, I want to help, I want to help, I want to help. And next thing you say, okay, now we need to ask for money. Oh, but sales is dirty. I don't want to do sales. So with that, and I'm using this because that's a traumatic experience for many people until they reframe the sales, then it can change. And we do that. But how do you do that? Or do you do that?
Yes, Francois, that's a great question. It's actually anything, any kind of learned behavior, any kind of introject over time. A lot of our money issues aren't necessarily our own. They come from potentially generations, right? Of these ideas we have around money. We Gestalt practitioners certainly work through anything people might be facing. And I actually work a lot with people's limiting beliefs and blocks about starting their own practices. So not necessarily, and those blocks may come from past traumas, but the foreground is, how do I move forward in this business?
So tell us, how did you get involved in this Gestalt coaching? How did you hear about it? How did you learn how to do it, get interested in it?
I actually I'm running the operations for a woman who pioneered Gestalt coaching and horses. She started seeing the way horses relate to humans on an energetic level. And she incorporated it into, she already had a major background of decades of working in Gestalt. And so she brought the two together and created it's powerful, really. I actually run her business for her on the backside of things. She went on to, this could have been my own intuition. She went on to start a program around Gestalt, not partnering with horses. And I was like, I'm pretty fascinated by this. Just when I entered the program, I faced total life upheaval. I was diagnosed with a tumor at the base of my brain. My marriage was ending and some other personal things happening in my life. And to me, there's no accidents. And so I went through a very intensive 2-year certification program, all the while going through my total life upheaval, but gaining the tools to get myself through it.
Wow, that's amazing. That is an awful lot to deal with all at once, and to try and learn at the same time something new. But obviously it worked and it was successful. Is that the right word? And obviously convinced you that this is something that you want to do and that you can do for other people.
Perhaps a question, Risa, that comes to mind as you're helping people. What is the length of the sessions or programs that you're having? Because obviously, I think that the deeper the emotional root of this is in the people, the longer it takes. But is there like packages that you make people go, you need to have so many sessions at least, or enlighten us on what the process can be for someone?
There's actually, all coaches operate differently. I'm a little bit of a rebel when it comes to business, and this isn't my first business. I've had other businesses, so I'm a little bit of a rebel, and I like to go against the grain a little bit. I understand the importance of packages and coming up with a plan. But what I've also learned when you go through a total life upheaval, that sometimes it doesn't always serve you to have a plan. And so it's important to me to make my coaching accessible for others. So I strongly believe in a sliding scale for my fees. I also strongly believe in no pressure. People approach their traumas, their life challenges, all kinds of things in different ways. So it's important for me to really be in contact with my client and read them. What do they need? Me putting this idea of, okay, we should have at least 8 sessions and each week, putting that pressure on them when they're just like, I don't even know if I can get to the first one. So I'm much more casual in my approach to people who are just starting to dip their toe in, like knowing something needs to change in their lives, but they're not quite sure what or how.
Love that. I love that, because you're right. You're reaching people, or people are coming to you in different, how do I say this? They're coming to you in different stages, and Francois said, and some of them are coming to you with really deep set issues, and some of them are coming to you with more surface level things, I would think. So yeah, that's a great way of positioning your business. So tell us a little bit about your success. So what would you attribute your success to? Do you do any type of specific marketing, or what kind of advice would you give to a coach who's looking to grow their business?
I have a few things in mind. But as far as growing my business, connecting, networking for me has worked really well. Immersing myself in other communities of coaches or people interested in the same realm of things. And that has really worked well for me. And yeah, showing up confident, even if I'm not feeling it, is one. And then as a coach, I'd like to say listening feels like one of my strengths. And it's such a skill, especially coactive listening, right? It's such a skill. And if you think you're good at listening, practice some more. You can never, I like constant and never ending improvement. So I just want to continue to evolve and be better and get better. And so that feels like a really important piece of the puzzle for me.
That's nice. I appreciate that. Actually, last week I had this email that came and it says, "Are you doing the 55-5?" I go, so curiosity. So I click on and it says, in a 60-minute meeting, you must talk 5 minutes and listen 55 minutes. And so this is something that I thought was very appropriate and actually matches what you're saying for coaching. And I think for all of us as coaches, if we talk too much, we talk people in and right out of what it is that we're doing. But if we ask questions, find out what are their motives, what they want to achieve, and dig into this, then it's them that are saying, hey, I want it for this and that. And now it's because they're saying it, they're coming to us rather than us chasing them. So that 55-5, I think for all of us listening, try and assert yourself next time you're talking to people or potential people. If out of 60 minutes, you only talk for 5 and you let them talk for 55, you're going to discover so much and they feel great because they've contributed. And it helps them also to, whenever people articulate what it is that the challenge is, there's modalities, they say it and then they hear themselves saying it. So it has a good tendency to help them understand that they need something. Therefore, sales become secondary. They buy. You don't sell, they buy because they realize what's going on with them. That's not happening, and then you can help them. This is awesome. So I like the way that you're approaching this, Risa, and it's conducive with a lot of the things that are happening right now because of social media. Everybody's just pushing stuff out, and people are longing to be heard. And so therefore, when you're communicating with them like this, yeah, I can see that, yeah, definitely. People feel and want to feel that connection that's more human than digital, and you're providing that for them. This is awesome. We also, Kirsten, Jeanne, and myself agree strongly on this, that we need to listen to what they have to say. Absolutely. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. And one other thing I would like to add for as far as to finish your question is, Jeanne, is around being authentic too. And this kind of popped in when you were talking, Francois, is like people will see right through in authenticity, right? And I get a lot of people coming to me about when they start their coaching practices, so-and-so is doing it this way and I should do it that way. And I said, what if you did it your way? And so that I feel like that's another important piece of the puzzle too. And I revel in the fact that I'm a little rebellious and go against the grain. And I'll be the first to admit I'm slightly unpolished too. And I love that about me, but I know that I'm being real and showing up with integrity. And so that's another piece of the puzzle I'd love to put out there.
I love it. One thing I realized as I get older is that when I was young, everything was black and white. It's good or bad. And I'm realizing that things are great. And so that helped me a lot. And so hence, even though with you being a rebel and not necessarily structured, yet you adhere to Gestalt coaching therapy. So therefore, this is a structured thing. But within that structure, there's a lot of freedom and movement. Yet it is in a structured way because as individual, especially when you said we hit rock bottom, we need to have some kind of structure. Otherwise, we're in pieces. So we need to be brought back together. But I like the fact that in your box, there's a lot of room for people to operate in. Nevertheless, there's a box that's still there to help people get some content. Bruce Lee used to say, be like water, my friend. If you're poured into this glass, you become the glass. If you poured into this bottle, you become the bottle. But you're still water. And so the container, however it is, can accommodate whatever the people need to. And that's what you're providing with your coaching. Although rebel, still you have some content and context to how you help the people. This is awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that too, Risa.
Oh gosh, I love that water metaphor. That is fantastic. It's perfectly said, beautifully said.
It's Bruce Lee, yeah, because I'm a gold medal Canadian champion in Taekwondo martial arts, and I like martial arts, and Bruce Lee was the master. And I love when he said that. Be like water, my friend. And actually, if you think about it, water is the only element that can be gas, liquid, and solid. It's the only one that can move from one to another. You take a piece of wood, you burn it, you can't put the piece of wood back with the gases from it. You can't. Water is. So be like water, adapt to whatever. It can be hard, it can be soft, it can be ethereal as well. So that's cool.
Oh my gosh, we're going deep now. I love it.
Yeah, it is hard to be a coach, and it is hard to get out there on video or on social media, and because you always make $10 million in 5 days, and it's just all this crazy stuff. And so you're like, should I do that? Or then there's other people who don't even ask for the sale. Should I do that? But yeah, it's a hard place to be when you're not sure who you are or what your values you have.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. It's not an easy, at least social media world to navigate.
So you work with coaches. Are there specific types of coaches that you work with?
They mainly in the Gestalt modality. Yeah, a lot of them, like you said, lack the confidence or courage to step out. And it's a lot of comparison or, oh, am I good enough? And so then we dive into, okay, where did the not good enough come from? And there's so many layers, and it's different for every person. And other people, they feel really confident in their businesses, but maybe they struggle with creativity. How do I promote this thing, this event I'm doing? And I love diving into creativity. That is so much fun for me.
You just pointed something. If someone comes to you and says, oh, I have this event, how can I promote this event? What type of advice can you give people like this?
It's finding that balance, right? Like you said, staying within a certain structure, but having some courage to maybe color outside the lines a little bit. For example, I'm sure my marketing team doesn't love me because I'm always pushing back a little bit, but they'll say, okay, promote on these days and then personal posts on these days, and then maybe a little bit something about this on this. And I'm like, no, I want to post what I want, when I want, and how I want. And so again, I feel like it's really hard I want to bend the rules a little bit. And I want to say, get creative with your posts. Everyone's seen a million Canva flyers and things like that. What if you did something different and had a dance party with the flyer in your hand or something? Just something to embody your personality and make it really personal. How people want to connect, they want to know that they're connecting with you. So how, as opposed to just looking, like I said, at a paper flyer, how do you actually connect with these people so that they're like, you know what? I think I like her. I'm going to give her a call.
I love that. So that reminds me, how would you like people to reach out to you if they want your help? And do they need to be a Gestalt coach, or can they be someone who just appreciates that type of help?
Oh my goodness. No, you don't need to be a Gestalt coach at all. I just somehow that's where everyone comes from. But I certainly coach people outside of the Gestalt realm. I would say be open if you're open to non-traditional methods and exploring. And if you're curious, I might be your gal. And you can find me on my website, risaaugust.com. And that's Risa with one S, August, just like the month.com. And I have a connect page there with all my information.
So people can connect with you and perhaps maybe have an introductory session. Is there something that you do in order for people to start to get to know you? Then from there, if it's a fit, you can move forward. Is that the way that you function?
Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, I like to get on a 20-minute call. I found that 15 minutes isn't long. I love information. I love details. So the more I can get, the better. But it's also important for me to meet the client as well, because sometimes I know right away I'm not the best fit, but I can refer you to someone who I think would be great for you.
I love that. We all believe in that as well, that if we can't help you, we would be happy to find someone who can, because, there's somebody out there for everyone, and not everyone is your client. So I love it.
Absolutely. And thanks for pointing out. Actually, one of the reasons why we are here right now is that Kirsten and Jeanne specialize in marketing and helping the back end. And a lot of people get people in front of them, but they have a hard time enrolling them into their coaching. That's where I come in to help the people enroll them into their coaching. Some people come to me, they have it easy to enroll in their coaching, but they don't know how to get clients. So then Kirsten and Jeanne are there to help. So we refer one to another. And the fastest we realize this as a coaching community, that we can't be everything to everyone and we all need one another, then it's getting much better. We get the flow going, and as it does, as I say, when the tide rises, all the boats rise with it. So let's make it happen.
Wow, you're great with those metaphors. I love them.
Absolutely. So last question for you is, if you could provide the world one tip to make it a better place, what would that be?
This is a good one. Don't limit yourself. Life is meant to be lived fully.
I love it.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, my thanks so much to you, Risa. This has been a pleasure to get to know you, to learn more about Gestalt, and to know that you are out there for other coaches who need your help. So thanks for being with us today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thanks to my co-host, Francois. We always appreciate having you and seeing you.
So much for being here. Appreciate that. So everybody, as you said, stop tiptoeing through life and make a difference. People are waiting for you. People need to be coached. Let's change the world with coaching more and more people.
Thanks for joining us today on Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights. We hope you're leaving this episode with inspiration to take your coaching business and your life to the next level. If you found value in this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe and share it with someone else who you think might benefit from hearing it. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.